Hey, what is up everyone? Pastor JAMZ here back with another review, and sorry for missing Thursday's video. I've been really busy with work, and I didn't have time to listen to an album. However, Danny Elfman's Big Mess finally released on Thursday night, and I've been listening constantly back to back. I usually like to give albums a few days for me to put my thoughts together, but I was anticipating this album the whole year ever since it's been announced. I've been following him. He is my favorite composer, and yeah, I think I'm pretty sure I have a strong opinion on it now. So yeah, Big Mess by Danny Elfman. He is a film composer for your favorite films, such as the Tim Burton films and Sam Raimi Spider-Man back in 2001, 2002, and also composer for the Men in Black series, and so on and so forth. The guy is a legend, my favorite film composer, and now after 30 years, he is making his own music again. Um, Very interesting, kind of the singles leading up to this album, very wild and kind of reflects his work over the years. Um, yeah, he's getting some attention, but is he getting the attention he deserves? I'm not really sure that he is. So I hopefully this album will be a game changer for him and his field. At 68 years old, don't let the age fool you. And 18 songs, an hour and 12 minutes. Wow. This album is certainly a big mess. So here's what I do gotta discredit about the album. And it's not necessarily anything that, well, there's little things that throughout the album that I have a problem with, but the album itself and leading up to the album. Of course, from the album cover, you can see there are essentially three sides to Danny Elfman. There is the one to the far left where the hand is resting on his head. That is his sadness. That is the side of him where he reflects on his own people and the relationship he has with others. The one towards the middle where he's crossing his arms is the side of him where he essentially wants to reflect on himself. He kind of discourages himself, looks at his own flaws, and wants to be a better person. The one to the far top is the side of him where he's sort of expressing himself in a way where he gives his opinion on the state of the world, the state of his own world, and just really wants to release all this energy. And you know, throughout the whole album, he kind of switches it up a lot. But the problem that I have is when his five or six no his six lead singles leading up to this album were all based on expression, like just very energetic and very just exploding with energy throughout every single track. And that's sort of a problem because I thought the whole album was going to be like that, and it's not. There are instances where it's more mellow and very dramatic, and it's not saying that it's necessarily a bad thing. I'm just saying that I caught me completely by surprise. These tracks that kind of stray away of these exploding lyrics, exploding instrumentals, and just kind of like taking a turn, I suppose, a very sharp turn. And throughout the whole album, yes, it's called Big Mess, and I kind of like how it is a big mess. The album doesn't necessarily follow a stream like, okay, there's the first half is his sad tone, and the middle is explosive, and the end is his self-reflection. No, the album is very mess. It's a very big mess and not very well structured, but I think it fits the album. I usually discredit albums for having that issue, but given the fact that this whole album revolves around, after being isolated for a whole year, it takes a toll on someone. This album isn't necessarily about COVID, even though there is a song called Love in the Time of COVID. The whole album revolves around isolation and the whole year that we had of isolation because of COVID. But the album isn't about COVID. It's just I guess when you have isolation, you go through these phases. You reflect on the relationship you have with others. You reflect the relationship and the undermining understanding you have with yourself, and then you have your own reflection and views on the world. Whether it's politics, whether it's the destruction going on, the pollution, the anger with everyone, all of that is reflected in this album very nicely. And as mentioned before, he has amazing vocals. He could also have very drawn out, sort of like a tired sense of vocals going on. Very energetic vocals. He really switches it up. The guy is a legendary film composer. I'm pretty sure he knows what he's doing, and I trust that he gave this project his full attention and really fleshed out his vision. Given the fact that he hasn't done this type of music in 30 years, I'm really surprised and honestly not so much like I didn't have any doubts coming into this album, is what I'm trying to say. I trusted that he was going to really put his heart and soul into this, and he did. His vocals can change dramatically. His vocals can be energetic. It just depends on the song and the tone of the song. And he also incorporates instrumentals to the fullest degree. The guy works with orchestras. He also incorporates very hard shredding guitars, war drums, percussion. All of those things are used to the highest degree. And I've never heard violins and orchestra and pop in a post punk rock song be so blended together so well. Oh, I'm sorry to mention. Yes, this is a punk rock album. Some could it's also like more of a rock art type thing. Like it's more of a dark tone. The whole thing is very dark, and people tend to stray away from that. But yes, it's punk rock, dark rock, and more of like a poetic. The whole album, the album itself can also be poetic, whether it's however you mostly find those poetic tracks to be more somber and melancholy, very emotional, sort of rhythmic, and very not so much in the energetic tracks. The energetic tracks are just hard hitting, explosive. You have these very eerie sort of violins going on in the background, hard hitting, drony type instrumentals. I really love this album. I'm giving this album Big Mess by Danny Elfman a 9. Another 9. This was a great week for albums, in my opinion. And yeah, I'm very happy to see and hear this album from my favorite film composer, Danny Elfman. If you're looking for something, or if you're even a fan of Danny Elfman or Tim Burton and his films, you like that type of gothic sound, you should give this a listen and a chance. You might not necessarily like every single track, but there are elements and huge elements of his Tim Burton work in this whole album. If you want something like punk rock, if you're trying to find something that's punk rock, this is it for you. If you're trying to find something that's ambient, more emotional, poetic, there are also tracks in here for you. 18 tracks. I'm pretty sure you're going to find something you will like if you're looking for something new and experimental. There are 3 sides to Danny Elfman in this album, like I said. Uh, one of his sad side, where essentially he is reflecting on his relationship with his wife, his children, his personal relationships, and how he plans to uphold those relationships. Then there's the side of him where he is reflecting on himself, kind of discouraging himself, discrediting his bad side, not necessarily like he's a bad person, but his flaws and how he wants to continue being a good person. Then he has his explosive side, where he expresses and explodes on his opinions and views on the world around him. A year of isolation takes a toll on a person, and he just expressing his views on politics, on destruction, anger, pollution, all of those things blend together in one big mess. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Peace and stay safe.